welcome back to Kin Reads as we continue with the Addy stories. The next one is Addy Surprise. It's Christmas story, and I know it's not Christmas, but like I said, I want to read them all, and that's just the next one. Chapter 1, Winds of Winter. Addie Walker knew that winter had come to Philadelphia even before she opened her eyes. An icy wind whistled through the crack in the garret window. Mama had just gotten up, leaving a puff of cold air in the bed when she lifted the heavy quilt. But her place was still warm, so Addie snuggled into it. Mama's gentle voice called to her, "Addie, honey, I need your help over here. Snow's coming right through the window." Addie peeked from under the quilt. In the dim gray light of morning, she saw Mama straining close to the window. Its panes were white with frost. A little pile of snow had built up on the windmill, and more snow had blown across the floor. "I'm coming, Mama," she said. Addie crawled out of bed and shivered over to the window to help Mama. Together they pulled down the window, struggling to close it, but the window wouldn't budge. "Go to the rags next to the stove," Mama said. Addie got the rags and returned them to Mama. "Help me stuff these in the crack, Addie," said Mama as she poked the rags between the window and the sill. "Stuff 'em good. They all we got to keep the wind from blowing in." Addie put one cold foot on top of the other to try and warm her feet. "Can we light the stove this morning, Mama?" she said. "It's so cold in here." "No, honey," Mama said. "We got enough coal to last this week if we only use it for cooking supper." She smiled at Addie and gave her a quick hug. "Now you wash up and get ready for school. And hustle, you hear? Then you won't feel the cold so bad." Addie splashed icy cold water from the basin from her face and dressed quickly, dancing around in her stocking feet. She waited to pull on her boots until the very end. They were wet from the puddle she had stepped in on her way home from school yesterday. Though she sat by the stove last night, the fire hadn't been warm enough to dry them out. Addie wrapped her shawl around her shoulders and down at the table to eat the cornbread Mom had set out for her. She crumbled into a bowl and poured bottled milk over it. As she ate, she spied a pile of fabric folded neatly on Mama's chair, with a spool of thread and a pair of scissors on top. "You was up late again sewing, Mama, wasn't you?" asked Addie. "I gotta finish this dress for Mrs. Howell," answered Mama. "Miss Ford said Mrs. Howell's real particular." Mama folded the fabric and squinted at one of the seams she had sewn last night. "It's hard to see my stitches by candlelight. We sure do need a lamp." "How much we got saved for it?" asked Addie. "Can I count up the money in the bottle again?" "Sure you can, Mama said. "But I ain't put nothing in it since you counted it last week." "I put my tips in it last Saturday, Mama," Addie said proudly. "I got 2 big tips when I delivered them dresses to Society Hill for Mrs. Ford." "That's good, Addie," said Mama. She reached into her hiding place behind the stove, picked up the milk bottle, and handed it to Addie. Addie turned the bottle upside down and shook it so that the coins poured out. And she carefully counted all the pennies, half-dimes and dimes. "We got $1.57, announced Addie. "Well, that ain't enough for a lamp," said Mama. "Guess we're gonna have to wait a little longer. I just hope I don't have to pull them stitches out of one of them hems in that dress." Addie finished her breakfast and washed her bowl and smoothed down in the bucket of water that stood by the stove. Then she went back down so Mama could brush and braid her hair. She looked at the thick folds of green and red plaid taffeta that laid over the chair next to her. "Them rich girls sure got pretty dresses," said Addie. Sure do," said Mama. "Isabella Howell's gonna wear that one to some fancy Christmas party." "Remember last Christmas, Mama?" asked Addie. She thought back to the past year when she and Mama were on the plantation with Papa, her brother Sam, and baby Esther. "Master Stevens gave us a real skinny chicken. Sam wouldn't even eat it after you cooked it. He was mad because of how hard we worked. He said one chicken wouldn't make up for a whole year's work, but I was hungry and I ate it." "I'll remember," Mama said, "but Sam ate my sweet potato pudding. He liked that." "And Papa did too," Addie said. "Sweet potato pudding was Papa's favorite. He always said so. He always Addie stopped. She and Mama did not even know where Sam and Papa were, and they had to leave baby Esther behind when they ran away from the plantation. She missed Papa and Sam and Esther so much. Mama seemed to know just what Addie was feeling. As she started to braid Addie's hair, she said, "I'm going to make that pudding for Christmas again this year. We'll take it to the church dinner. Auntie Lula taught me how to make it. I'm sure she's going to be making this year, so when we have Christmas dinner, we'll be eating the same thing as Auntie Lula, Uncle Solomon, and Esther." "I wonder what Esther's Christmas is going to be like," worried Addie. "Well, Auntie Lula and Uncle Solomon ain't going to have to work on Christmas, so they can't be with her all day long," said Mama. She finished Addie's braid and started on the second one. "And you left your doll Janie with her. That's like Esther having a present to play with every day. Last night I dreamed we was all together. Sam, Papa, Esther, all of us here in Philadelphia," said Addie. She turned her head to look at Mama, who looked sad. Mama gently turned Addie's head back and continued braiding. "It ain't going to be just a dream, Mama. It's really going to happen someday, ain't it?" Addie said hopefully. "Ain't we all going to be together again?" "Someday, honey, someday. That dream keep me going. That and your bright face." Mama finished the second braid and leaned over to kiss the top of Addie's head. On the way to school that morning, Addie asked her friend Sarah what Christmas was like in Freedom. Sarah described the celebration at church. "I hope it's going to be like last year," said Sarah. "The altar was all decorated with pine branches. In the middle was a manger with baby Jesus and Mary and Joseph leaning next to it. There was 3 wise men and a bunch of angels and even a silvery star hanging from the ceiling. Lots of candles was on the altar. The whole church was glowing and beautiful. I'm telling you, Addie, it's the prettiest thing you'll see, ever." Addie could barely imagine something so lovely. Sarah went on. "After the Christmas service, we go downstairs for the big Christmas dinner. Everybody brings something to share, and everyone in the whole church sit down like one great big family. Mama said we're going to bring sweet potato pudding, just like we had for Christmas last year," said Addie. That sounds good," said Sarah brightly. "But I ain't told you the best part yet, Addie. After dinner, there's a special shadow play for the kids." What's that?" asked Addie. "Well, it's kind of hard to describe," said Sarah. "We sit in a dark room that has a big sheet hanging in front. Behind it, there's this bright shadow lamp. People in the front of the lamp make shadows on the sheet. They act out the Christmas story while it's read out loud." "I bet it's really nice," Addie said. "You're going to love it," Sarah said excitedly. "This year my mom is letting me sing in the children's choir. You should join too. We practice every Saturday till Christmas." "I wish I could, but I can't," said Addie. "Saturday is when I work for Mrs. Ford. I'm doing errands and deliveries so she and Mama can spend all their sewing time sewing Christmas dresses for their customers. Mrs. Ford let me keep the tips from the deliveries. I had to promise I would keep up with my lessons." "What are you going to do with your money?" asked Sarah. "Mama and I are saving for a lamp," answered Addie. "Maybe by the time I finish all the Christmas deliveries, we might have enough saved up." "Well, don't worry, Addie," said Sarah kindly. "If you can't come to choir practice, I'll teach you the songs. Then you can sing on Christmas along with everyone else." "I'd like that," said Addie. She smiled at her friend. We can start now," said Sarah. "The first song we always sing is 'Joy to the World.' Here's how it goes." With that, Sarah began to sing. Addie listened and then hummed along. Soon she knew the words. "Joy to the world," the 2 girls sang together as they hurried through the winter streets to school. And that's the end of that chapter. I'll see you later.